Welcome back to another video of Joe's Toolbox Exchange. Today we're going to be going kind of over all the inventory we have here really fast and also giving you guys a tour of the shop. I want to do this because we hit 500 subscribers. This is pretty cool and a lot of you guys have requested to see the shop in more detail. We're about 2 weeks and 2 days in. I really did not expect this reception. 500 subscribers is pretty crazy to me. I think if we hit 1,000 subscribers at that point, I'll do a tour of our home setup and what all of that boxes look like and my personal tools. But today we'll be kind of showing you some of the details, some of the stuff that we have here and what boxes are currently sitting here. Before we go into that though, I do want to mention the giveaway one more time. It ends on the 24th of this week. Today is Wednesday the 20th, so it ends on Sunday. This is the first item we're going to be giving away. The top comment will be tagged below the video, and that'll be the link to enter the giveaway. So if you see these boxes and they have a tag on them as we go through them, this means they are currently pending. This box was actually just in a video, I think yesterday and maybe the day before when we were taking the tools out of it. And one of you guys reached out to purchase this box, and you're actually going through a lot of work to get it. You're going to take a flight into Indy and then rent a vehicle to transport it back home. So that has happened a few times, although it's not really common. In that scenario, we obviously hold the boxes as you guys are arranging flights and such. This here is going to be the large double masters. I think we're going to shoot a video on this hopefully tomorrow, although it might not go up until Friday because it is going to be rather late that evening. But this is a return customer, and I already talked to him. He's cool with doing a video with you guys. I think we're going to try to do a little more of that. Obviously, I don't want you guys to think if you're coming here, I'm going to film you, but I will ask certain customers to maybe shoot some footage. There's a channel that I've always really enjoyed called Craigslist Hunter. I think I'll probably pin it below because you guys should check it out. It's sort of like a Pawn Stars, but a little bit more authentic. They own a resale shop similar to a pawn shop without pawning, and they just film a lot of those cool items that come in and the interactions with customers. So I think we're going to take some of that as inspiration and do that with the boxes and tools specifically and see how you guys like seeing those interactions. So this box is going to a customer we have worked with. This will be the third time, and he is actually bringing back a box that he bought from us and trading it for this one. It's the exact same model. He just wants this color instead, and I kind of knew that when he bought his original box it was black and he was looking for an Arctic silver. So we'll be doing a trade with him tomorrow. So that box is pending. This cart here is going today. It's a standard 40-inch flip top. I believe you saw it in some other videos. It is leaving here in probably about an hour. Next to it, we have a 40-inch slide top. There are 2 of these. There's also one against the wall over there in a different color. We have a large double masters here. This is the taller and deeper model with the 3 full-length drawers, no power. This box is also pending. It is going on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. The box back there is also going next week, I believe. It is a deposit. Once again, this actually came from one of you guys who found us on YouTube and reached out and purchased this and another box and has already put a substantial deposit on them, so they're just waiting for pickup, trying to work around his work schedule. He's also coming from out of state, so I believe it'll probably be Wednesday of next week that those 2 leave. This one's available currently. It's the Cornwall Pro Series. I think it has made an appearance in another video. These 2 are the large double classics. They're much taller than their counterpart right here. They have the 3 full-length drawers and power. I really like these boxes. I try to always have a few of them here because they sell well. And for the price, around $2,000 to $2,400, they're a really solid buy. I like them a lot. This is a smaller classic series. And then back there, you have a large master series that is the taller, deeper model with the big 3 full-length drawers. The same size box is going to be hidden back here against the wall, only it has the 2 full-length drawers and a stainless top on it. I believe this one and that blue one were in another video earlier this week or maybe last week at this point. We have a Matco 2S, which we've seen in detail when we were comparing it to a 4S. The 4S we compared it to is already gone. We had quite a few masters last week. It was, triple classics. I think we had 6 of them maybe 10 days ago, but we were back down to 3. 6 is kind of strange to have of this box. We usually have 3 of them though. That's about average. They're all the same model. I believe all 3 of these were shown in other videos, being the Midnight Blue, Supersonic Blue, and Arctic Silver. I believe this Arctic Silver is going to go this week, but they didn't send the deposit, so it is still available. That's kind of how I like to deal with a lot of customers. If someone is going through a lot of legwork to get a box and it's the day of, I'm happy to hold it. For instance, that black card I mentioned that's going today, they did not send a deposit. But if they're coming, you know, we talked last night, he's coming today, obviously I'll hold it. But when people want me to hold a box for, you know, a week or longer at times, we generally do not do that without a 10% deposit. It just kind of dealing with such a large number of interested buyers, they change their mind frequently. So usually we do not hold a box for extended amount of time without some sort of deposit down on it that is applied towards the overall price of the box. So if the box is $3,500, I think the deposit would be around $300. They would just pay the $32 and they picked it up. So that is how that process works. Back here we have a Revel series. It's a little bit rough, but it is huge. I think we'll do a video on this one down the road because I don't get these very often. So while it's here, I'd like to review it. It does have quite a bit of cosmetic wear, but this box is also cheap. I think it's like $4,500. So for a box of this size at $4,500, it is a lot of box. There is just a lot of wear and some paint damage down here on the bottom, but they are cool, and I don't get them very often as they are no longer manufactured because of the price. I think they didn't sell very well. They're extremely expensive boxes new. Back behind you, you have a Heritage series. Canadian-made Heritage series. It's kind of cool. It has a little cabinet on the left side with some drawers and shelves in there and then a flip on the top. It's basically a 40-inch cart. It's about the same size, the footprint on the bottom with the top box on it. I try not to buy a lot of these. They don't sell that well. Most people don't want a Heritage series when you could buy a Classic for, you know, a few $100s more. It's kind of a niche item. Generally, homeowners will buy them. Some professional mechanics use them. I have seen them in shops as intro boxes, and some guys are able to use them for the life of their career. I just don't sell them very well. So I try to buy things that sell well. That's really the goal. I mean, the goal of all of this is to turn a profit. So even though there are some things that I think are good buys, if the market doesn't think it's a good buy, I don't buy it. I don't like things sitting around for a long time. It's a huge investment to have a $4,000 box sitting for a year at a time. We just try to avoid this. The average time is I try to have them gone in about a month to free up room for more that come in and to get the tools. We get the tools, that's where the money is. So on a box, you know, that's sitting for a year at a time, we just really try to avoid that because I'd rather have that same space churned over multiple times. There are some bigger items here, like there's I think a Polar set down on top of one of those boxes, a creeper. This stuff generally sells locally. You know, if someone comes to get a box and they want a creeper for like 30 bucks, they'll have the creeper for 30 bucks. That's kind of how we do some of those larger items. Shipping them is a pain. I don't like trying to sell things online or even locally. Posting a tool for $50 or something just is not worth our time. The volume is too great to be taking on that amount of work. If you want to show up here, I keep a lot of things. You know, there's like a Matco magnetic tray. Those are cool. Or a mat rather. They are magnetic. They can go on the top of your box. They also work good as fender protectors because they are magnetic, so you can lay it over the edge of your vehicle so your belt doesn't scratch it. The Traxxas RC boat is pretty fun. I keep a lot of older tools. You know, in the beginning I kept a lot of older tools. I've slowed down on that, but that old Zephyr wooden creeper is definitely a thing of the past. They're pretty cool. The micro boxes over here, and I think all of these tools or boxes are empty. They're just somewhere in the shop being used. Sometimes I save the boxes and I might use a tool for, you know, a couple of weeks, and if I decide I don't want it, at least it has the box to resell it. It will get listed as used, but it does help to have the box. I will probably end up keeping all of those as I like all of the tools up there and use them quite often. We have some clips down here. This is kind of cool. I don't know if you guys are watching from the area. We have a large concert venue near us. I believe it is currently called Ruoff. Before that, it was called Klipsch, and those are actually signs from when it was called Klipsch. It was kind of I guess of my coming of age years, it was called Klipsch. So it's kind of a cool piece of local history. There are some other signs from Klipsch also. That one up there was also there, and the one next to it. I used to have a lot of these creepers. I like that one a lot. That's the Serbius, the three-headed dog. It's kind of neat. It's a cool piece of artwork. It's got a little bit of wear on it, so that'll probably stay here forever. Along with this large banner, I always liked it. I think I picked it up for like $5 at a garage sale. It's a cool piece of artwork, especially with the retro scanner on it. It's amazing that that's how we used to diagnose vehicles. It's definitely come a long way with the Zeus and Apollo and other scanners that Snap-on sells now. That thing is heavily antiquated, but it is cool to see, you know, how far the things have come in the past 40 years. We keep a lot of this stuff. These are micros. I used to buy a lot of these, and I still do. They just are worth a lot of money. They sell for a couple $100s, so it's kind of hard to justify buying them all the time. But I think at one point I had like 10, and a lot of people will come in and make an offer on them, and if they want to pay what I paid for them, I'll sell them back. You know, if I pay $200 for it, it sits here for a year, and I get to look at it every day, and then sell it to somebody else for $200. You know, in my mind, it was a good trade. These are kind of cool. These are Snap-on speakers with power outlets in them. So if you buy one of these stainless tops without power on them, a lot of guys will add these down the road. It's still Snap-on branded. You get power outlets on it, and it's a speaker. It sounds okay for the money, though. It's not a good speaker, to be honest, but it is cool, and it matches your box. These are the little dioramas. I used to have more of these. I believe these 3 came from Tracy, which was a customer at one point before he got out of the business. We did a lot of stuff with, and he gave us quite a few promotional items. I'm sure there's other stuff in here that did come from him. Those are clip speakers. I think our next giveaway is going to be for one of these. They sell online. We sell them pretty commonly for $150, but locally they're $100, and a lot of guys coming to get a box pick one up when they're here because they're like $300 new and they sound fantastic. So that's usually what we're playing music in the shop. I can't do it for the videos because obviously that music is copyrighted, so there's never music in these videos for that reason. I don't want to open that can of worms. We have some more micros like this and this. This is kind of cool. I've been working on this for a while. These are going to be a rail. I'm really trying to get an 8-inch rail in every single color. So right now I only have, the Arctic Silver should go because I have it now, but I'm waiting for an orange in the 8-inch, a royal blue in the 8-inch. There's some other colors here I do not have. I do not have like desert tan off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's, you know, purple and pink and some other colors that are very rare that I do not have. I'm trying to collect them all. When I get them all, I'm going to try to make a cool display case. A lot of customers come in and are looking for a color, so it's helpful to, you know, show them with the side-by-side, you know, this is midnight blue, this is royal blue, so they can kind of see this is supersonic blue, how similar some of these colors are and what they might look like next to a box they already have. You know, some colors contrast, some colors look great together. So you have 3 very similar reds here. You have cranberry, you have powder red, and you have candy apple red. So powder red and candy apple red are almost the same color. So this is, I think, a better representation of the actual colors because they are on snap-on metal with snap-on, you know, powder coat, so you can see exactly what the color looks like. And that kind of wraps up. I guess there's a couple other things. The signs up here I've collected. These clocks I've had a ton of. There's a few more I want. They think they have like 5 in total, and they kind of trade out. These sell for like $200. It's a lot of money for a clock. So when I get them in, I usually keep them, and they sit here until someone wants to sell it. That was painted for us by a local artist. It's kind of cool. It's the rat fink riding on top of a toolbox. Is a little bit of a unique piece in here. And then we have a little Revel up here. These are cool. It's the only one I've ever actually seen. It's a little functional toolbox, quite a bit bigger than the Snap-ons. The Snap-ons are more decoration. This is definitely something you could use as like a desktop caddy. It's cool. I picked this up off a customer I did a lot of business with. I probably spent over $10,000 with him over the course of 3 months. And he's pretty local. I'm sure we'll work together again. But I bought this one, and I think that little green micro down there also. So they came from the same person. They are pretty neat, and I don't want to sell that one, so it'll probably be up there forever. And then other little things, you know, power banks and covers and stuff. This stuff will a lot of times sell separately. You know, someone comes, they want a cover, it's an extra $100 for their box. This one specifically is for a double masters, the big version, and a power bank for any of the carts. So sometimes people will come and, you know, a power bank I think is 100, the cover's like 100. I think the covers new are like 4, and these are new too, so that's kind of around the price that those things sell for. One day I think we'll go over more in depth our own setup for what we use for tooling for fixing the boxes. That's that cart. It's kind of messed right now. That's where we see, like, you know, the fans, the speakers, the inflators, things like this, tools that are used around here regularly. Back behind here, it's buried now, but this is where we keep like the grease gun on the floor. There is stuff that is merged with the other companies. So like this rack is actually used to waterproof circuit boards that go inside of ice cream machines. So they need to be waterproof because they clean them off with water at the end of the day. But like in the background of the videos, there is stuff like this. That's what that's for. It's for chemically coating boards. And it smells really bad, so it's in the back with the toolboxes. This was cool. Another clock, and, you know, like little pieces up here. This is pretty much our charging station. This is used for the polisher, and these are used on the tools like impacts that we use, and also a Dyson. Dyson's great. I have gone through a couple of them, but they last. They suck up the grease and everything out of a box really well. We used to start with a shop vac, but it sucks the liners out of the box because it's a little bit too powerful. With one of these with the brushes, you can get in all the crevices a lot easier. So I don't know, I would buy another Dyson in a heartbeat. I think they're like $200. I've run through them probably once a year. We have a lot of banners in here if you want to show it on that wall. I'm sure they saw them earlier. Matco makes the most of them because they have a large variety. So I don't even know if Snap-on has a single one on their website currently besides like the large one on the wall there. They have some large ones, and I think it's only in the red with the white print. I don't think they have any cool artwork on them. Matco does a lot of this. Mac does some, Cornwell does some, but Matco definitely makes a lot of cool graphics. You know, on the door, it's all of our magnetic trays. This is just kind of cool. When people are pulling up to get a box, you kick the door open, they see a bunch of Snap-on logos. They know they're in the right place and feel a little more comfortable just walking into some strange building. So That's the reason they're there. All of our magnetic trays get stuck on the side of this thing. A lot of people take the magnetic trays. I would say, I think yesterday a guy picked up a box. I gave him like 5 of them. They just pile up. Every box has them, you know, mostly O'Reilly. No one even wants that stuff. So a lot of those stick there. Along with on the side of this cabinet is a bunch of Harbor Freight magnetic trays, the glove holders, the parts bins, cup holders, things like that. I try to keep no tools back here unless it's something like this puller set. This is a OTC puller set. It'll sell locally because I don't want to ship it. It's in great condition and it's complete. It'll probably sell for like $70. So when someone comes in to buy a box, if they want a puller set, there it is. I think that is pretty much everything that we have in this room. The boxes are spread out like this. A lot of times they're like this. In the videos that you guys see, they're kind of condensed down so we have better room to film and review a toolbox. But usually I try to have them spread out in a manner when someone comes to buy a box, they can see them all pretty easily, walk up, open the drawers, compare models. So they're not just jammed in there. But like I said, in the videos you see, they're usually all shoved down into that end, and sometimes just by nature they are shoved in here no matter what we do, because we might have 35 and it's a rather small room. So we are looking at getting a bigger building. That's what I'm working on now, is looking for a larger building to spread this out a bit more and hopefully have some tools laid out. So when you guys come to buy a box, a lot of guys will buy tools while they're here, but to have that option so that it's everything laid out, they can see it, I think would be a good option for you guys, because you're already here getting a box, spending quite a bit of money. Maybe you can get a great deal on a ratchet or something while you're here also, without having to pull my online inventory and actually figure out where in the building I have that item stored. The Traxxas cars are fun. We race them around a lot, especially in the building with the polished concrete. They spin out like crazy. We've had quite a few Snap-on ones. They're just a lot of money. So when we get them in, they'll sit here for maybe, I don't know, a couple of months, and then we'll play with them and then get bored of them and sell them on. That's how a lot of this stuff is. I try not to hoard too much, but obviously I'm in this for the passion, so I keep a lot of things until I get bored of it, and then I try to let go of it and get something else in. So there is a high turnover on a lot of the promotional items for that reason. Some stuff will stay forever, like the Ratfink wooden sculpture down there. That was done out by an artist on the East Coast. He made the cigar Indians for outside cigar shops, and yeah, we can show it. It's cool. I love this thing. I paid a small fortune for it, but it's actually very well done. He made this custom, was a one of one, so it's got, it's all painted. He did all of that himself. The teeth are immaculate. The attention to detail is really good, especially for a chainsaw sculpture. And it sits pretty large. I mean, I'll sit next to it. It's decent size. Over here we have a dartboard. This is cool. It'll probably sell, as it's a heavy item to move around. The thing probably weighs like 60 pounds, so it's kind of a pain. But it is fashioned after the Epic. You see these a lot in the, what do we call it, bar cabinets, where I'll have a shelf in there for like whiskey. Those are cool, I guess. This is cooler. If you hang it on the wall, this opens up all the way, so the logo is actually facing the correct way. And I don't think this was ever used. It's got a little dent here, but still got the tags on it. It was never hung up. It's got all the hardware. We took this in on trade. We take a lot of that stuff in on trade. You guys get this stuff for free off your truck and raffles, and a lot of times have no use for it, so you'll bring it back. I think we also have the basketball game. We have the Epic fireplace, which is really large. We have a lot of the little gnomes, the Snap-on yard gnomes. We've sold a lot of those. I think there's still some in the front. Sometimes that stuff is up in my office because it's cool to look at. It never makes it back here. I'll show you guys the machine shop next. This shares a double functionality with the other company that we have. We do use a lot of the stuff in there specifically for the tools, or a lot on the tools, like bench grinders and drill presses though. So that's going to be over here. All of this is for cutting down large aluminum extrusions for custom controls that we manufacture here. Those shelves are empty because, like I said, we're in the process of cleaning things out, getting ready for a move. We use a drill press a lot, especially fixing components. This is pretty common. We use this on a lot of different tools, trying to get things fixed, along with the small bench vise. This one's a replacement to the one we had because we just broke our big one. So looking for another big one to go here, something with a little bit more power. But this does help if you're trying to fix a tool, just to have somewhere to hold it. Especially screwdrivers, pounding out the handles, replacing the heads on them. Same with ratchets. We use that almost every single day. The belt sander we also use a lot. If you're trying to fix different components, sometimes you have to modify them, or on older boxes, if they don't manufacture the part anymore, like the clip for the friction slides, you have to manufacture that little piece, and sometimes it takes a bit of fabrication to get it to work. Same with the milling machine. We use that quite a lot on trays. A lot of trays will not accept the larger size sockets, the magnetic trays that are like a polymer or a plastic, so they'll get milled out to fit the trays. That's usually all that is used for. And then a bench grinder back here, we use this a lot, along with another small belt sander. This gets used quite often, and this gets used on impact sockets. The wire brush a lot on impact sockets because they rust because they're uncoated. So when you knock the rust off of it, this is a brass brush, so it doesn't really damage the socket itself. And then we'll go ahead and re-oil them, so it hopefully prevents rust in the future. But you will see impact sockets rust. You guys know you have them, they just do rust. The rest of the building is going to be for the other job specifically. So over there you see some people right now building large custom enclosed panels. Oh, we have a workbench here. This gets used a lot too. I mean, if you're working on stuff, fixing things, it's kind of a mess right now, but this is where a lot of both panels are made and also stuff is pieced together if you're trying to fix a certain tool. You know, ratchets are always going to be rebuilt if we get them in, so taking them apart, taking out all of these components and having a clean space to work. It's not clean now, usually it is. And you can sit down and take all the little pieces out and put it back together. You know, even a ratchet with no broken parts, if they didn't take very good care of it or it's in a bad environment, you'll see a little bit of surface rust on those. So taking out all the components, hitting them with the wire brush, oiling everything, and then reassembling it just does help the ratchet feel like new. The locking mechanism on flex heads is almost always bad, so those always get rebuilt too, and they work great when they're rebuilt. It just takes time, so that's usually where this is done. The lighting in here is quite a bit better than in the back. There's more drill presses down here and punches. The punches are used quite often to fabricate different pieces for the bottom of boxes if we need to do so, along with like fixing handles and things, or replacing or manufacturing a component to fix something. You know, we have made handles. All right, welcome back. We had to cut it there because they actually came to pick up that black cart a little bit earlier than expected, which is fine, but they obviously take precedence over the video, so we got that taken care of. This over here is one of the last things I like to show. This is where we keep a lot of extra parts in. Up here is going to be all the speed rails. We buy a ton of these. Most boxes are missing them. We have most of the common colors in stock, so when we get a box in that's missing the speed rails, we'll replace them. Every once in a while, a color might not perfectly match. It might be flat black, and you might get a gloss black rail, although when we sell a box, we make sure to note that. But at least you do have that rail system in there, as most times the boxes are missing them when you get them because they've kept the rails they wanted and discarded the rest. Maybe they had it for a few years and some of the rails are missing. Here's an extra Masters handle, Classic handle, a bunch of extra Matco handles. We have a bunch of extra of those at our house also. We go through gloves like crazy, a bunch of extra power cords. A lot of the Snap-on boxes are missing power cords. That's what this whole stack is Snap-on branded power cords. Different lubricants, and this down here is some extra tools that we use on the road. If we're going to get a box, maybe it doesn't have the top on it, we want to make sure that top is bolted down, we'll take that kit with us. And then this is extra trailer parts, which a lot of times will be in one of the vehicles. And then some chemicals. This is overflow for different chemicals that we use. Stainless steel cleaner, finishes for the butcher block tops. If we're redoing them, a lot of times we redo them because they're a little bit rough. You can sand them down easy. And then like tire foam. These little magic erasers work great on flat colors. I would never use them on a gloss color unless it's really necessary because it'll damage the finish and you got to polish it back out, but they work really good on flat colors. They don't cause any damage. And then Bristol pads too. We use these a lot on the wheels, especially the older wheels that are just bare metal. A lot of times we'll bristle them back down so there's no rust on them. You see that quite often on the older boxes. And then a lot of straps. A lot of guys come, they don't have a strap. They might just have a couple of bungee cords, so we're constantly buying straps. As we use ours, you know, we might use ours for a month and then we'll give them away and just buy new ones because they do get such heavy use. I tend to trust them a little bit less, but when you got 3 or 4 in a box, if one fails, I guess that just is what it is. We'll go into the next room. This is the last thing I want to show you guys. See, that was the black cart that was here at the beginning of the video. That one is gone. We keep all of our catalogs. We have more up in my office. I think all of Matco's are in my office because I was looking up some stuff yesterday, but we tend to save all these. It helps to find part numbers on older stuff, especially, you know, the 1200 and older catalogs for Snap-on. A lot of those parts are not in the newer ones, so we tend to save those. They save a lot of time doing research on replacement parts and rebuild kits. You've seen this part of the room in a cleaning video. This is where tools get laid out. So this is all that's left from that one video, along with some more stuff. More stuff came in the past couple of days. Most of that has sold. Like these need to get listed. They're a 7-piece 3/8 impact set. They're super oily, so they need to get cleaned and listed. And then Mac pliers. But the rest of this stuff was all shown in that unboxing of the pink Maximizer cart. So stuff will get staged here. Usually it's a couple different stages. It'll get cleaned. This stuff is cleaned, ready to get listed. That stuff needs cleaned. And then they're separated on the mats depending on what box it comes in so we can inventory it. So everything on this plastic mat here came in a box. Everything on that mat came in a box. And then this stuff is clean that came from that same one. So we try to inventory stuff to keep track of where stuff came from. It helps with accounting at the end of the year. It's a lot of taxes, a lot of paperwork. This over here is mostly broken stuff or sets that are missing. Along with the inside of some of these cabinets, there are a lot of extra parts. So, you know, all the extra magnetic rails. If we get a snap-on that's missing them, we'll replace the magnetic rail if it's damaged before we sell it. There's wrench sets in there and trays that are missing individual pieces. So we'll save those until we get another set in. We'll combine them to make a complete set. A lot of that stuff stays. And this stuff is miscellaneous. Like these need warranted and these are missing. Those are random, but this is all stuff that we'll sell online, but it's unrelated to the tools. Those are electronic components. I think they're breakers. And then back here, this is a large tool lot. We sold a large tool lot yesterday, but this is a little bit of a smaller one. I think this one is actually going to get redone because we've added quite a bit to it. And I tend not to sell individual items out of the tool lots, but I had a really good customer reach out, done a lot of business together, and he asked for something specific in this lot. So I'll go ahead and sell it to him individually and redo the listing. You know, I try to work with you guys if you work with me. So that's kind of my mentality. Along with some extra stuff, this will go into a new tool lot. And then these back here are all the extra liners. So a lot of boxes have bad liners. These are all liners, tons and tons. This is a top mat, a small piece off a side cab. These are Matco mats. These are brand new Matco mats for a JSC cart. These are brand new Matco mats for the same, I believe that's for a 6S. These are Masters mats. They're all different dimensions. And then the bottom part of this stack is all going to be top mats, mostly Matco. I think they're a little bit better. We tend to buy those more. But if you can see this here, you know, this is well over $1,000 worth of mats. So some of this inventory sits here for a while, but when we get a box in, if it's missing the mat or has a damaged one, we'll obviously replace it before we sell it. If lots of extra slides, if a box needs slides, they'll get replaced. And then this is all trim. So this is mostly Matco trim. It's all the same, but there is going to be quite a bit of Masters trim in here too, or Classic. It's the same trim actually. So this aluminum trim is to a snap-on. We save a lot of that stuff. And there's a bunch of trim in another room also. Because pieces generally get damaged, we might swap out a piece. So that's kind of what this is. We store this stuff. It's a little bit hard because it's so large. So that stuff will stay in this room as opposed to the back. And then when we need a mat, we'll either cut it down or try to find the exact one. But we try to keep brands the same, you know. If it's a snap-on box, we give it snap-on liners. A lot of boxes get Matco top mats no matter what because I think they are quite a bit better. So if a snap-on's missing a mat, we'll just put the Matco on it. There was a Master Series, a small one that was here, and a couple other videos. That one had a Matco mat on it. So I hope this is able to give you guys a little bit better idea of, you know, the space that something like this takes, the inventory that it takes. You know, there's a lot of parts behind the scenes, a lot of moving things in order to get these boxes ready to resell. I think down the road we'll do maybe a little bit more detail on some of the specifics. You know, we'll probably do a go through of our own personal setups here and the tools that we've used and why we use them. And then also, like I said, we'll probably do a walkthrough of maybe some of the other side of it, more specifically the tools. What does the inventorying look like there? What is the process of keeping a database for thousands of listings and separated to make sure the customer gets the right thing that's listed, along with cleaning processes for the different tools to get them nice, how we stage photographs, and how maybe even the accounting works, because that's rather complex. I don't know if you guys care about that, but I know a lot of you guys are small business owners. You have your own shops or your service. You're out on the road and it's just you know, you do your own accounting, so maybe it'd be interesting to see how something like this operates, and maybe you could take some ideas from it, or maybe I could take some ideas from you onto how to streamline a lot of these processes. And maybe we'll do a tour of Trent's office someday down the road. He definitely has the largest office out of all of us, so his is where he does a lot of editing on some of the videos. He's helped out with this, but also by trade, he's a software programmer, so that's what he's doing most of the days when he's not back here filming me or picking up a toolbox. So I hope that you guys at least found this somewhat interesting and not super mundane. And until next time, thank you for watching.